All right, so I don't know why I feel the need to like say what time it is now when I make videos early, but it's 4:51 a.m. Anyway, so this is the third. This is about the third or fourth time that I've tried to make this video because the other times in the past I've tried have just been jacked up. Basically, what I think happened was that Windows did an update which completely reset Streamlabs, the settings I have. So I'm kind of like in a really bad mood. Tell you the truth. I'm in a bad fucking mood. But I want to finally get this out there. It's like, I don't know. It's like someone didn't want me to make this video. And I don't know why. It's not like it's that serious. It's not going to hurt anybody. Anyway, I'm all shiny. So this is like the third or fourth time I'm doing this. But this is my review for Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Originally, I watched this on Tubi. Yes, Tubi. So I knew it was going to be, interesting. But I think it says a lot when you could watch something for free on Tubi. You know what kind of quality you're going to get. So, but I knew nothing about this film when I first, or before I watched it. And I went in completely blind, kind of using a term from like the gaming community. I knew nothing about it. All I know is that, there's this guy that I only ever heard about it because of this guy I know who has a tattoo of one of the characters. But after watching the movie, I can say that I still don't know very much about the movie. I mean, it was just an experience. And in some ways, I felt like I was, taken hostage, really. I felt like the movie dragged on. It dragged on and on and on, where a 2-minute scene would feel like 30 minutes. And I think this stems from the oddly long segments that kept building up for nothing to happen. In retrospect, this causes scenes to go on a lot longer than needed. I'm not sure if this was to pad for time. Maybe, but I don't really think so. Pacing is a major issue within this movie. I instantly hated the character Alan. Oh boy, I hated Alan so much. I was rooting for his death from early on in the film. I could not stand his whimsical, chipmunk-looking face. I just cannot stand characters like him. I feel like he was supposed to be kind of like funny in a way. Like, oh, look at him. He's so whimsical. Ha ha. No, I want to beat him up. The film itself wasn't very scary. I wasn't scared at all watching it. In fact, I groaned more than anything. The plot was lacking, not that there really was much of one anyway. If I were to quickly sum it up, as I wrote in my review, I said, a Scooby-Doo looking gang goes to an island, digs up a dead guy, disrespects the body, then dies at the end. That's really it. Alan, his death at the end is mildly satisfying, and the way it was filmed, I thought was very artistic. It was artistically very great, personally. But the death itself was disappointing for a character that was so easy to hate. His death really did not have the payoff that I would have liked. The two characters that did actually stand out to me in a good way were Val and Anya. Their actresses were really good. I mean, truly, Anya's actress, Anya, that was the actress's name herself. I mean, she went crazy. But you have to think, she did so well at portraying herself as like this crazy, kind of almost whacked out sort of hippie chick, which I think, not trying to make everything about Manson, but this movie came out in 1972. So I did have the thought, I did wonder if in some ways it was kind of supposed to maybe reference or in some ways be a nod towards the scary hippies. But I don't know. I'll talk about this later, but I couldn't find very much about the film. Ugh. Sorry, I had to sneeze. uh, I really think that the actresses that played Val and Anya were amazing. I really think they're amazing, and they could have gone far. I think that if they chose to pursue film like as a career, and I mean film, for example, film, because I believe Val's actress did go on to do some Broadway stuff before she passed away. And Anya's actress did maybe one or two more films before she left the game entirely. But I think both of them could have gone far if they stuck with it. I don't know why they didn't, and I'm not, coming down on them about it either. Obviously, we all have different stuff going on. But would I recommend this movie? No, absolutely not. I would not recommend this movie. It's bad, and it's almost like the Troll 2 kind of bad, kind of hilarious bad, funny. But it's not funny like Troll 2. It's bad like Troll 2, but it's not funny like Troll 2. And I can't in good conscience honestly recommend anybody to watch this film. Now, I mean, if you threw it on, like, in a party setting for background noise, yeah, it's whatever. I remember when I was not in high school. Right after I graduated high school, I would hang out with some of my friends, and we would, like, hang out, somebody's house, somebody's trailer. They would have, like, at the time, because it was, like, 2011, we would have Repo the Genetic Opera playing in the background. And we didn't really watch it. Some people really did. I was kind of just whatever for me. I didn't care for Repo. But my point is that sometimes, people throw on movies in the background just kind of for noise. Some watch it, some don't. I feel like Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is kind of like that. It's one of those movies you throw on in the back, and some people watch it. The rest of y'all are smoking and drinking. Somebody's frying fish. God, I sound so Southern, but for real, That's the way I see this movie. This could be like one of those. Or it could be like what Carrie Fisher apparently would do when she was alive, where apparently Carrie Fisher would play the Star Wars Christmas special to make guests leave. So maybe I would probably do that. I would play this movie to make people leave my house. But I couldn't really recommend this to watch for leisure. Like, how there's some movies that you're like, yeah, I watch it. You watch certain movies because they're fun. Like for me, I really like to rewatch the Romero movies. I feel like Romero's movies were really good at drawing you in and putting you in this world of what if. I've never met anybody, for example, that has watched any of the Romero movies and didn't think what they would do if they were in that situation with the zombies. I'm getting kind of off point here. But Children in Juxtaposition, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things doesn't do that. It is just sort of there. To me, like I said, it kind of just took me hostage. I was like, when is this going to end? When is something going to happen? I didn't even write this down, but I just remember, it's funny now, it's April 12th. I originally watched the movie February 7th, 2025. I wrote this review on Valentine's Day, 2025, and now, for the third or fourth time, I'm recording this in April. But anyway, when I was watching the movie, I distinctly remember, the intro started to seem good. Excuse me, I just had a tortilla with some butter and honey and sugar. It was really good. But anyway, when this movie started, the intro was 4 minutes. And I was like, why does it need to be that long? Come on, or, well, not necessarily intro, the intro credits. I was like, this is 4 fucking minutes of credits. Really? Like, y'all couldn't put that at the end? My God. I was like, oh God, this is starting to drag on already. So I would rate this movie one slime. One. It's bad. It's a little silly. There is a little bit of silliness to it, but I just could not recommend this. I would not recommend this for like a leisurely watch, something that's fun, you know. Like my point with the Romero movies is that watching Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, to me those movies are fun, you know. Children shouldn't play with dead things isn't fun for me. It's not something fun to watch. I felt like I was wasting my time. So, that said, I did try to look up any mentions or reviews of the movie in the newspaper archives, but I didn't find much of anything in the year that it came out, specifically, 1972. I couldn't find any articles or reviews about it. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but what is searchable online is not there. So I did find two reviews from 1973. I do think about, like, I don't know. I mean, probably in the times, the years since, maybe 75, in the 80s, in the 90s, there might be more reviews about this movie. But my mentality was as close to this movie being fresh, being freshly released. What did people first think about it? Because I couldn't help but wonder, is my opinion of this film from a, I guess, future perspective? Because I had the thought maybe when this movie first came out, people liked it more. Maybe it was really well liked. Maybe it was just because how times change and people change and our sense of humor changes. And I would assume even our sense of horror changes. I was kind of thinking maybe back then in the 70s it was liked more. Maybe it was just more contemporary, right? No, people didn't like it back then either. No, people didn't like it then either. It's probably why there was no reviews for it in 1972. Anyway, the first one I found was actually from the Los Angeles Times, and they posted an article titled, "Children Turns Out to Be a Juvenile Effort." This one is from 1973. They said that the movie was a ripoff of Night of the Living Dead, and it was hard to tell whether it was silly on purpose or not. I couldn't help but smile when I read this part, when the author of the article had wrote that Alan Ormsby stars as a thoroughly obnoxious character. Oh, sorry. A thoroughly obnoxious director. And I was so glad to know that I was not the only one that felt that way and could not stand his character. Just horrible. I don't understand the point of that. Was he supposed to be funny? Was he supposed to get on your nerves? Because either way, it was like in just the worst ways possible to me. And this review brought up a good point that I thought about when I first started watching this. I had wondered if this was influenced by the original Night of the Living Dead, which, off the top of my head, I believe came out in 1969, right? 68 or 69. And I could see some sort of influences or maybe like nods towards it, but I never could find an actual confirmation about that. So I don't know if maybe it just seemed that way or if the creators of this movie were influenced by George Romero. The Los Angeles Times review did also state that they pointed out the idea of the crew going on the island or risk being fired if they didn't wasn't believable, which is the plot to the story, the movie. The movie starts out with they're on this boat like outside of Florida to go to this island, dig up the guy and disrespect the body. And majority of the people didn't want to go, but they had to because Alan Ormsby's character was the boss and he threatened their jobs that he would fire them if they didn't go and desecrate this body. And so it was funny that this review said, that's not even believable. Or maybe it was. Because it might have been the only job the actors could get. Damn. The review said that, not me. The second review I found was from the Toronto Star, and it was posted on July 25th, 1973, and it was titled, Silly Horror Farce, Not Even a Candidate for 10 Worst List. The author stated that the movie didn't live up to the hype people said about it, and they couldn't even finish the film. The guy walked out on the last 30 minutes. I remember reading that he had watched only an hour, and the movie is only an hour and a half, which is, to me, pretty short for a movie. You know, I mean, in comparison to some of the stuff that's, like, released nowadays, too. Like, some people are like, yeah, let me watch, like, aren't there, like, 3-hour superhero movies now? Like, who the hell would watch that shit? You know? But in comparison, an hour and a half, you know, that's pretty short. That's easy to me. But it was so slow and sluggish that half hour, that hour and a half, I mean, it was just, that last half hour was hard to get through because I was just wanting it to end. I really was. But I agree with the guy from the Toronto Star who said that, you know, he walked out because he just couldn't take it anymore. And a part of me is like, damn, he should have just stayed that last 30 minutes. But it's not like he missed out on anything. I mean, and one thing I didn't like is how predictable it was that everyone would die at the end. I mean, okay, you know, there were probably, of course, that would happen in a film like this, but of course, you know, it would happen in a film like this where everybody dies at the end. You know, fair enough. It's sort of a zombie movie, but it's not a zombie movie either. It's not, I don't know what kind of film this is supposed to be. Tell you the truth. It's not a zombie movie. It's not a horror movie. It's just about a bunch of nerds that, like, honestly, need to get a life. I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, the best performance, though, was to the actress that played Val, where she had this part. There's this one scene where she does her, like, dramatic summoning of, like, the spirits, and that was really good. That was actually really good. And it seemed like that once she did that, it would, like, raise the dead and they would immediately start getting chased by zombies. But no, that didn't happen. You know, the zombies, they weren't even really zombies. Like, at the very end of the movie, the dead, like, come out of the graves and, you know, eat everybody. But it's like, why did that take so long? That was like another, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes, which is such a slow pace. It just, by the time the dead came back and ate everybody, you kind of just forgot that Val even did that to begin with. That said, though, there's very little known about this film. I looked at the Wikipedia article and I looked on IMDb, but the background information is surface level. It is very, very scant. And I would love to know more. I really would. But I don't know where to look. I mean, I could. The one person I even know that likes this movie, I mean, I don't even know if he could tell me, right? But if you do know any background information, you know, like the making of, because that's my big thing. I would like to know more details about the making of this movie. Just because I'm that type of person. I like, you know, stats and facts and trivia. I like trivia. But you can't find it anywhere. I mean, maybe if I, like, looked in the newspaper archives from the 70s to now, but we're talking about 50 years worth of news to maybe find something. Anyway, once again, once again, I give this movie one slime. I really don't recommend it, you know. Not even for, like, a trash way. It's like, I feel like even if you like trash, which I like trash, you know, I love to watch trash because it makes me laugh. This didn't even make me laugh. It's not even worth wasting your time. Honest to God. Like, I feel kind of bad because I know there's people that love this film. I would not waste my time, personally. It's just not even funny.